Good Monday evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys have had a great Monday out there today. A good start to your week, and I hope you continue to have a good Monday throughout this evening. We've got some model guidance to go over today in today's video, and we're going to dive into that. We got some National Weather Service graphics to go over for some possibly sneaky snow in some of these areas. We'll go over that. We'll go over the pattern at the end of this video, so we're going to get into it now. Like this video if you like it, subscribe if you've not done so already, and please leave a comment down below where you are watching from. I would greatly appreciate it. So this is just kind of some eye candy right here. This is not really important for the rest of the video. I'm going to go ahead and open Epic Pen so that it can be running. And so this is just overall, this is just the Northern Hemisphere and just a loop throughout the day. We have Epic Pen open. Here we go. We're going to get into some current conditions right now. Here is the latest hour of radar. Very quiet across the U.S. here. There's some kind of clipper type stuff up here in the Great Lakes area, and then we have some sort of energy diving through the areas of the Midwest, the North Central Plains, down through Iowa right now. If you're in that area, let me know if this is actually hitting the ground. Some of this stuff is probably too light and it's too dry for it to be hitting the ground, but otherwise, very quiet as of right now. Not a whole lot has gone on today, and that is reflected here with our watches, warnings, and advisories. This is all we've got. These out here are small craft advisories. So these right here are gale warnings for some wind-related stuff. That right there in Wyoming is just a high wind watch for the higher elevations. But then we focus where there's more, and special weather statements for winter-related things, as well as freezing spray warnings for especially mainly for small craft. We have some, what are these? Winter weather advisories. This will be in place for some snow. We're going to go over this in a minute. And some special weather statements. These are likely for black ice. And then we have freeze warning and cold weather advisories down in Florida. It's a very cold morning this morning down here. So keep that in mind. We'll probably have another cool morning tomorrow. And we have some wind-related stuff offshore. And otherwise, very quiet look here. So we're going to get into two separate frames here. The first one's going to be for the Ohio Valley here in this event, less than a week out, less than a few days out actually. I apologize for not getting this fully in frame. I can't find a good sector that really supports this unless it's more zoomed out. So focus your eyes over here on Ohio and Kentucky and all that. You'll see it. So we're going to start off with a Euro here. This is Tuesday morning. See some snow start to blossom along the Ohio River. Southern Ohio, eastern areas of Indiana, and it kind of spreads out a little bit more, get into West Virginia, starts to make its way into the Northeast in general. Pretty light stuff, but there could be some moderate snow in here. I can't be sure about the ratios this will be falling in, for example. It could be something very efficient, but I don't know if it'll be quite cold enough to get this really efficient snow, but it should be fairly dry powder. But you see some rain to the south, and it kind of, the whole thing drops south, makes it into the Delmarva as really light snow, and then moves on out. That's all we're going to focus on for this sector. In GFS, here we go here, getting into Tuesday afternoon. There's some snow. It's a lot more widespread, right? Along the Ohio River, area south of I-70, getting in on this here. And just along the Ohio River, far southern areas of Ohio, really the target area, and it starts to move south and east as we're getting into early Wednesday morning here into the Delmarva, and the areas kind of separate. See that? Over Virginia, we got like two areas of snow. That back area we're going to focus on here in a second. See how it grows? But don't focus on that yet. Now it's time to focus on. Here's the Euro. We're gonna drop this south a little bit. And we've started this off Wednesday afternoon. See, there's a surface low in the southern Appalachian Mountains and a lot of rain. This will be kind of a rain bomb on Wednesday for areas of the deep south. See that snow? This is really kind of uptrended over the past day or so, day or 2 days. Just a lot more snow in general. Now the Euro, I mean, it's not anything huge, but northern areas of North Carolina, southern areas of Virginia do get in on this. There's some winter mix showing up, but it's mainly snow or rain, and then it kind of fizzles on out as we get into Thursday morning. So this would be a Wednesday afternoon into Thursday night type of thing. There's the Euro. GFS starts us off with that surface low in a pretty similar place. And again, it's just a little bit more broad with the precipitation. Still a lot of the same, but just a little bit broader. Move this south, and it's a pretty similar look. It gets out of here by Thursday morning into the afternoon. So some light to moderate snow in areas of the Virginias, maybe even as possibly even as far west as, say, Nashville, Knoxville area, Tennessee. Southern Appalachians getting in on it, and then it moves on out. So those are those two events. We'll go over the snowfall for these later in the video, so stick around for that. But we're gonna take a more zoomed out look and kind of go over the whole picture, the big picture here. This is the Euro starting off Thursday evening into Friday after this event has moved out. You see that snow in the northern areas of the U.S. and into Canada. See how that stuff starts to drop south through the Great Lakes into the Midwest, the Ohio Valley. Very heavy snow is continuing to show up. Here's the last run, the run before. So pretty similar look here. And it kind of pivots through, maybe hits the Appalachians and breaks up a little bit, and then gets going more in the northeast. There is some northwest flow type of stuff in the southern Appalachian Mountains. Just when the wind goes over the mountains, it can get some snow going. That's all I'm going to say for that. And yeah, there's a somewhat aggressive shot of energy here. All our models show this. And then it gets a low going off the coast and really like gets going here. This is only the 18Z, so I'm going to have to select a different run here. So here we go. Everything's in frame. We continue this on out. That was the latest. Now we're a one run behind. This right here, you see this is 216 hours away. This is about 11 days. Days 9 to 12 need to be watched for something like this to happen, where we have a kind of a cutting low across the central areas of the U.S. and get some, it's kind of suppressed by a ridge to its south. So it's like a reverse suppression, if you will. It's not being pressed down from cold air. It's kind of being pressed up from the south by a ridge. So it rides over the top of it, but gets some snow going. No need to go over details really here because this has changed. Here was the run before it that went this far. Here's the current one. So big positioning difference right there. But anyway, we continue this. Moves through and into the northeast. Some moisture in this would be right here. I mean, this would be likely a thunderstorm type of thing. I'm just curious. This is Saturday the 14th, so about 2 weeks from now. Our temperatures, yeah, this could be a thunderstorm day for sure, in the 60s or so. So, yeah, that could get thunderstorms going. Big area of rain, no snow though, until you get into the northeast, that is. And then further beyond that, there's nothing. So other than this system right here, in the days on this run, it's the days like 10 to 12, maybe 13 time frame. So 10 to 12 or 13 here. And then we look at the GFS model, starting off the same time. There's that clipper dives down. There are some differences in how far south this snow might get, so we need to watch for those, but in general, their placement is pretty similar here. And you see a low kind of moving up through the northeast here, and it'll be kind of important where that low goes and how strong it gets, because if it stays there, areas of Maine and Atlantic Canada could really get a special like heavy snow for extended periods of time type of event here. But we get past that clipper, and again, this is the day 10 time frame. There's stuff going on here. There's no solid look, but there's a bunch of freezing rain in areas of the interior mid-Atlantic, the Midwest, the upper deep South, kind of between our main regions here. It kind of fizzles out though. Big area of snow. This is just really suppressed by a ridge to its south, so it's riding along the border between U.S. and Canada. And it does get something kind of going on the backside. This is the 11th. I mean, this is 216 hours away. You get something going, kind of a cutting low. So it's a similar scenario to the Euro. It does all this moisture stuff with the snow earlier. But as we get into the 11th, some sort of low rides through the U.S. and really gets going in the northeast. And then more, see this? This is kind of the same thing. This is the 14th. This would tell me, let me look at temperatures right here. Let's see. So this would be a marginal severe threat, I think. Not literally the Storm Prediction Center marginal risk area. I think this is just in the literal term of marginal. I mean, our temperatures are not really even in the 70s for most of these areas. So could it get the job done? Yes. An event like this, but I don't know if it would. But that's both of our models that show it at around the same time this coming Saturday. Or not coming Saturday, 2 Saturdays from now. Anyway, moving on. A lot of rain to the deep south. See that? It almost looks like a tiny little hurricane down in the Gulf. Interesting there. And there's a big kind of a, not an overrunning event, but like a suppressed look for a big storm system up in this. This is the 17th. This is getting out there 15 days from now. So no real need to focus on that. The GFS likes this, and then it starts to do some sort of overrunning event 17, 18 days from now. So no focus on that. The Canadian model, going to work through this a little bit faster. There's a clipper, pretty much the same story. There's some rain. There's that thing, the 10th through the 12th. There's something that rolls through. We need to watch it, and that's as far as we can go with the Canadian. It only goes out 10 days. So there's that. Now, moving on from that, here's our AI guidance. We like to use this for pattern recognition primarily. This is the Euro AI. And I'm not going to look we're starting this off Tuesday for all of the events. So there's that snow. The Euro AI consistently shows more mixing. I don't think we're going to really have this much mixing. I think it will mostly be either rain or snow. That's my personal thoughts. There's that surface low in the southern Appalachians. It gets wintry precipitation going, but all of North Carolina would just be a mix, and I don't really buy that. I think you could see some snow. There's that clipper, pretty aggressive, right? And we'll talk about this in a minute, but there's a very aggressive looking shot of cold air that comes in with this, or just behind this clipper, that we need to watch for areas of the Northeast right about in this time frame. But there's a few clippers there. Now, for example, this is getting into the 11th. Is there anything? You see there's surface low rolling across the U.S., but there's no moisture until later. So this is the 12th. And you see that? There's another model that shows something between the 10th and the 12th or so. And yeah, it's a pretty large event, but you know, that's as far as we can go. That's the Euro AI, GFS AI starting off here. I think it does better showing that there will just be rain or snow. Very little mixing. And then does show some snow. I think we might see a little bit more snow than that. But moving past it, Clipper, I don't know why it is not showing up. That is interesting. Reload the page here. It is preloaded. Perfect. Let's just do this again. We get out here through our Clipper. And then what about our time frame? This is the 10th. There's some sort of low riding through the U.S. Does something pretty major for the upper Great Lakes area. Moves on through. Anything else? There's something trying to get going here. On say the Front Range of Colorado. We got a surface low in that area. This is what we call Lee cyclogenesis. I'm going to explain this because I like being a nerd. I'm going to be honest with you. See how this blue line goes like this? That means we have a trough digging. And when you have a trough aloft, that's the upper air. These little faint black lines you see are the surface, and then obviously that L you see there is the surface low. When a trough does like this, and you've got the Rocky Mountains, right? When our energy, the wind, passes over the peaks and then starts rushing down the leeward side, the side that's not into the wind, the downwind side, you start to get a surface low to develop. There's some complicated fluid dynamics involved with that, but that I don't even fully understand. But you get this happens often in severe weather season. That's where our surface lows come from. Some sort of our trough goes over here, and then we have surface lows develop somewhere, and then they kind of track off like this. So that was just me being a nerd for a second. But we do get some sort of Lee cyclogenesis to occur, and who knows where this low would go. This is 10 days from now. This is the 12th. So we have something. Again, I'm telling you guys, maybe as early as the 9th through as late as the 15th, we've got something to watch. Just after, in the middle of to the later half of the second week of February, if that made any sense. Mainly the second week of February. Just think about that. We've got something to watch possibly. Between now and then, not really. So snowfall wise, here's the operational Euro. These dots have kind of connected literally, where you've got the first event and you kind of got the second event and you got stuff in the middle. Our other model guidance is even more connected than this. So we'll take a look up here first, along the southern areas of Ohio, far northern areas of Kentucky, and then it's really dropped you guys off in Indianapolis for snow. You never were high though. And then eastern areas of Indiana, central areas of West Virginia, you guys are the hot spot. The highest in here is in Portsmouth, Ohio, and you've got, less than 3 inches. Not a huge event, especially for you guys. Then there's some little splotchy areas. This has gotten even a little over, I mean, even though I just clicked on it, said less, that's over half an inch in the Greenville-Spartanburg area. So that's definitely ticked south here. And then this should draw your eyes. You know, the Raleigh-Durham area here points east. A lot of the areas just got a lot of snow. That is 4 inches of snow showing up. So we need to watch that. North of Greenville, you guys just got a lot in this area. Or actually, you guys, depending on exactly where you are, you may have gotten dry slotted with the last one. But hey, watch this event. That's the Euro. Now, we did this in yesterday's video, so I'm going to do it kind of differently. Blink and then open your eyes again. It's this filled in. So that's from our clipper. Kind of dives down, gives several inches of snow to the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, and we go all the way to the end. And then here, this is the Euro. These kind of bands, this one here is one of them. I'm going to recenter my mouse. It's almost falling off the mouse pad here. This, I can't do this right here. This area here, and some of this area here. Those are our 3 main hotspot areas. Now, you can see how there is something in this area, but that's mainly from that clipper getting into the middle to later half of this week. But notice the deep south, the south central, the central plains remain kind of hoodooed, dry, empty when it comes to snow. So there's that. How about the GFS? See, this is what I'm talking about, where it connects everything a little bit more. It really likes West Virginia, but other areas are pretty similar. Southern areas of Ohio, eastern areas of Indiana, northern areas of Kentucky, West Virginia, you're the favored area here with up to 4.5 inches maybe. And then you can see it kind of drops this footprint of snow further south, even near an inch in the Greenville-Spartanburg area, just basically into South Carolina here, north of Charlotte, with another little maximum area. This is kind of similar to the Euro, where we got 2.25 inches showing up just west of Elizabeth City. So that's not a forecast, that's not final, but it's something, right? Much bigger event. And then again, kind of blink and open your eyes, we got something here. But the GFS likes the northern areas where this clipper might go. The area along the U.S.-Canada border. And again, along the I-95 corridor, you still don't really get a whole lot, even through this event. Through the whole run. But you can see how, when I take this to the end, I can't do this right, guys. I'm sorry. All of this stuff up here is not what you would typically see. It's not like you always see this. So some of these are from those kind of events in the longer range. That's something there in Oklahoma we need to watch. But this is not final. This is just a single run, and there's no point in really going over all this too much. So there's that. Now, the Euro Ensemble, it perfectly connects all of these, smooths everything out a little bit and gives us an idea. I think Indianapolis, you guys are kind of losing this event, what little you had. But Cincinnati, you're still holding on to an inch, maybe inch and a half. Southern areas of Ohio with, 1.5 inches, maybe 2. West Virginia, central areas especially, are favored. And then it's kind of drops south into areas of Virginia, far western Virginia. And you can see this secondary area here. I want to watch this because this has kind of popped up recently. This has uptrended some. And between Chesapeake, Elizabeth City, and then for the far eastern areas, and then the Raleigh-Durham area, maybe up to Danville, Virginia, Winston-Salem area, you guys, it's something. You got a nearly 2-inch mean in a lot of this slightly darker shade of blue here. Even get some of it down into South Carolina. We'll have to see if this changes. But again, we don't have a whole lot of time for this to change. So let's take this through where that clipper. Yeah, this is a pretty good looking clipper here. The I-95 corridor, right? I mean, literally in the areas that don't have anything, is left behind. But all of that is from clipper action. And you can see the areas of West Virginia, the higher elevations are really favored there. So there's that. Now, how about through the end of the run? So it kind of looks similar. We don't see anything crazy with signals further south. But I honestly read it like this. This area up here, having filled in some, tells me that there's an idea on the Euro Ensemble that we'll have a surface low right here that tracks like this at some point. And where exactly it goes is important, but we have some sort of snow. I don't think the deep south is really set to see snow for the next several weeks. which obviously that takes us through the majority of the rest of winter. Several weeks from now, we're getting into late February, and climatology would tell us that we don't really get snow in the deep south after we get to March. So don't be bummed out. I mean, if you're in, say, Jackson, Mississippi, I just picked a place that I saw, Montgomery, Shreveport, Savannah. I mean, if you're in this area, I think this is along the I-20 corridor, um, and a little areas a little further south of it. If you're looking at a run like this and you hear me say that I don't really see anything for the next several weeks, which takes us through most of winter for snow, that is, don't be too bummed out. I don't really have any good news for you, but it doesn't mean that we don't wake up tomorrow and see model runs that give us some sort of crazy looking event in the deep south. They're not showing up today, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to happen. We got plenty of time for something to happen. It is February 2nd. Winter's not over yet. But anyway, moving on from that, National Blend of Models really does not like areas of the North Carolina, Virginia, where they meet here along the border. Really just likes this first event more. Mainly southern areas of Ohio and central areas of West Virginia, and then maybe extreme northern areas of Kentucky. This is what the National Blend of Models says. You do have some sort of footprint down here, but like we're talking about less than half an inch showing up. But this is going to include the dry scenarios. Now again, let me just take this to the end. I said it just a second ago, and I'll say it again. I think this up in here is indicating something. We have a low that tracks across the central areas of the U.S. and gives some snow to these areas. So we have something that we need to pay attention to. But I mean, areas of the deep south, the southern and south central plains, not really anything for you guys. So yeah, there's that. Now, here are some graphics. Here's something we can kind of tune out the noise. This is what you're expecting. Here is the first event here. I mean, they're calling for as much as 4 inches here. Let me do it this way. Here's your range values. So Cincinnati 1 to 2 inches, Indianapolis Trace to 1 inch. I think that's good. Unfortunately, there's not a dot here in this darkest shade of blue, but according to the key, that is 4 to 6 inches. So you could have as much as 4 inches in southern areas of Ohio. I think that's possible. And then the mountainous areas of West Virginia, especially the higher elevations, are favored here with as much as 4 to 6 inches showing up here. Actually, I got that wrong. In this area over here, this is only 3 to 4 inches. So there's that. That little darker shade of blue at the end of my mouse, that would be 4 to 6. But yeah, there's that. Nothing too crazy showing up here. This is a run-of-the-mill type event for you guys. And then here's the southern areas of this. I mean, this is not a lot, I know. Trace amounts to as much as half an inch showing up here. I know that's not a whole lot. Let me do it this way. I'll do range. So you've got, half an inch is mostly your ceiling here. I don't see 1 inch showing up anywhere. And if we kind of take a closer look, some of these areas, yeah, I mean, trace amounts to maybe half an inch. I would buy that. I think they might uptake this a little bit. This might be a little bit too conservative considering what we're seeing right now. But they are the professionals, and they know they're the smartest ones here. So here we go. This video, I have no idea how long it is at this point. I did not look at the time when I first started, but don't want to keep it too long here. So let's go over our pattern. This is starting off and getting into Wednesday. You see this area of blue? Hold on. Pause a second. Most of you probably know what you're looking at, but there are people who don't because you've never seen this before. This is 500 millibars. This is 3 to 4 miles up in the sky. And this is your height anomaly in that layer. So this, I picked the worst color possible. Let me do it this way. This kind of color right here, this red, that is a ridge. That is warmer air, higher pressure. And the opposite is true for this blue. That is lower pressure, cooler air, aloft. This is a trough, kind of shaped like this. A ridge is shaped like that, respectively. So here we go. We're looking for troughs and ridges here. That's obviously, you might be thinking, well, duh. We're looking at where they are and how strong they are. You see this area of blue start to enter the southern and eastern areas of the U.S. as we get into Thursday. Could be setting the stage for that event on Thursday, or getting Wednesday night into Thursday morning for areas of North Carolina, for example. Move this on. And now, I want you to see it right here. I think it shows up really, really well. Do you see this little area of blue right there? Feast your eyes on it, if you will. Watch where that thing goes and what it does. See how it kind of drops south and then really deepens just off the coast. This is what tells me we might have a very strong shot of cold air. This was the run before, this is the run before that. So we've not really gone anywhere with it. But that could be a really aggressive shot of cold air up here, especially as it moves off the shore. Now, then you see suddenly we have a ridge in a lot of these areas that have been seeing troughing. I think we get some sort of pattern change as we get past the first week of February. I think the first week of February is pretty negligible with anything different, and it's mostly quiet. Once we get past that, this is getting into the 8th, the 9th, the 10th, we have some sort of ridge. Now, this is not going to get any storms going, you might think. But this is why our storms do this, where they kind of ride up, and then all the moisture is suppressed to the north by this ridge, and then they kind of ride up and then kind of ride maybe even a little bit back down as they go east. So, all that to say, even though you don't see blues showing up in this area, what that really means is just our storm track is suppressed further north. So it could mean a northern plains sort of time frame here where you want to watch the northern plains. But afterwards, that ridge moves east and starts to break down. Here we are on February 13th. We see ridging leaving. It's in the eastern U.S., but it's really weakening. And some troughing to neutral look here in most of the U.S. Then it starts to amplify even more. This is 2 weeks pretty much from right now. And yeah, we got something to watch. We have a trough, we have cooler air, and it's still wintertime. And then right here, right at the end of the run, yeah, we get some ridging, but it's really, really light. I would consider that this is mostly just a zonal flow. You can see these black lines kind of go like this, just straight across the U.S. So there's no real troughing or ridging here. There's just kind of straight across. So that's our upper air pattern. We do have some time frames to watch. How about our temperatures? This is a temperature anomaly. This is above or below average. Note, I say this in most videos when I go over this. This is February, and you don't need these temperatures to be, for example, 28 below if this color key shows up and my head is not in the way of it. You don't need those for it to be really cold. It can be pretty dang neutral. I mean, you could see it at like some of these these slight blues, and that's still pretty dang cold outside because it's wintertime. You don't need it to be really, really below average. But we get this going here. See that shot of cold air? This is for the first system. This is for the Ohio Valley and then the North Carolina thing. And then right in here, you see that? Areas of the upper Great Lakes. There's something kind of diving south here. And then, for example, over Maine and really, really just points west of Maine into New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and then other areas of the Northeast as well. Some of these values, guys, are 16 to 20 below average. If your average daytime high temperature is 40 degrees, that could be as much as your daytime high is like 20 degrees outside. So that's bitterly cold. And then we move this on. That shot of cold air amplifies. Its maximum is this coming Sunday morning. Yeah, just this next Sunday from now. Pretty much a week out. Very cold air. And then you can see this area on all of the central U.S. is pretty warm. This is not like a torch where you're going to be in the 70s or 80s in South Dakota. Not that. But maybe you will warm up some. Starts to move to the east. So areas of the deep south, we might get to the 60s, maybe 70s. Of course, I mean, if you get into Florida and along the Gulf Coast, you might be higher. But for the most part, 60s, maybe 70s here as daytime highs. What does it do here? We're moving out here. This is the 16th. And there's not really a cool down. As of right now, we go from cooler in the eastern U.S., and then that ridge takes over and doesn't really do anything else. We kind of have just warmer air everywhere. But this would tell me you have a trough. I'm drawing this. You have a trough that goes like this and a ridge that goes like this. Maybe not this dramatic, but that is our pattern. This can be determined from our temperatures at the surface because it looks like this. Ridge spiking in the east, troughing out west. So this is not a winter weather type of pattern for eastern areas, but it might finally get you guys in the western U.S. going for some winter. I'm telling you, I mean, if any of my viewers live out here, number one, this seems like so far away, so welcome to the channel. But, I mean, You guys have just been kind of left behind by the entire season of winter. I mean, I know it's been cold in some areas, but like, there's just not been a whole lot. It's been very quiet out there for pretty much all of this. So I think that's all I have for you guys. It is. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for tuning in, and I will get a video out tomorrow at some point. I have my co-op. If you did not know, I am homeschooled. That's how I'm able to do this. I don't have time taken up by public school. Get my school done relatively early, but I have a co-op tomorrow, so I will be back later. But that doesn't mean I won't get a video out, so just watch for that. And thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, stay dry, and stay happy.